What's going on with y'all boys, man? Welcome back to another video. And if you're new here, welcome. You know what I'm saying? As you all know, the NFL corner is around. The NFL season is around the corner. And you know, that brings in new topics to talk about as far as the NFL. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of headlines. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about the situation with Shedeur in Cleveland and what Cleveland needs to do in order to put their organization, which has faced years of just depression, in the best position to win. You know, and first I'm gonna just start by saying that the first thing they need to do is just go ahead and name Deshaun Watson the starter. You know what I'm saying? Because I think ultimately that situation it brings you the most answers to your organization. That situation right there is going to help you find the direction. It's going to give you a clear-cut direction of where you need to go with the organization. You know, whether to stick with what you currently have or time to start bringing in the future. Because ultimately the biggest question is the quarterback position. You know what I'm saying? For many years, whether you can go back to Derek Anderson, Johnny Manziel, DeShone Kizer, years and years of just bad quarterback play. You know what I'm saying? You can go back in the history and it's just years and years of bad quarterback play. So ultimately, the main thing is the quarterback position, like it's been for many years. And starting with Deshaun Watson gives you a sense of direction, whether to push out the old and bring in the new, or to stick with what you currently have and give your future a chance to develop. First of all, you don't pay a quarterback 40 to 50 million in Deshaun Watson to sit him on the bench for the entire season. You know, so I think nobody would really be surprised if you was to start Deshaun Watson. And ultimately, I think that should be the clear-cut answer. Make him earn his money. Like I said, if he plays bad, it gives you a clear-cut answer that you need to move on with Shedeur Sanders, or you need to move towards Shedeur Sanders. Now you rule out the question of, is he really the option or is he really the answer? And now you rule out all the drama of, should he really be there? Should we move on from Shedeur? I think Deshaun Watson starting just answers the most questions out of anything. If Deshaun Watson plays bad, there you go. There's your answer. But if he plays good, it gives your franchise even more wiggle room. It gives Shedeur Sanders even more time to really develop. The NFL history, as far as quarterbacks being thrown into the fire, the odds are already against them. So there's really no need to rush Shedeur out there and throw him into a fire, especially if you really don't even know where you want to go as an organization. And it's a lot of holes within your organization as far as the product on the field. So there's no need to rush them into the fire, especially if you're an organization like the Cleveland Browns that's been bad for so long, for multiple decades. It's like, what's another year going to do? You know what I'm saying? It's not, out of all sports leagues, the Cleveland Browns probably have the least to really prove. And since you're at the rock bottom, you know, you don't have to do much to progress. And at this point, any progression is good progression. So throwing Shedeur Sanders out there in the fire does no good. And ultimately, it's going to put your franchise even more in a hole if he does play bad. You know, given that the odds are already against him. If he does play bad now, you leave the question of, oh, maybe we should have started Deshaun Watson. And given that Deshaun Watson is, you know, he's already getting up there in age, coming off multiple injuries, he's even against the odds as far as being able to turn the table as far as his stint in Cleveland. He doesn't have too many more years as far as his peak and his prime. You know what I'm saying? Even if he has some left in the tank, you know what I'm saying? It's not that much, unless he can pull a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning or a Drew Brees and play until he's 40. But given his stint in Cleveland so far, and given the history of Cleveland as far as quarterbacks, it's looking like that's not going to happen. But even if Shedeur plays bad and you move back to Deshaun Watson, it's almost like you're hustling backwards. You know what I'm saying? Because now, instead of pushing out the old and coming in the new, you're pushing out the new and coming in with the old. You know what I'm saying? And eventually it's going to break down, just like a car. You know, and eventually you're going to have to find a new car. You know? So if you was to go back to Deshaun Watson, now when Deshaun Watson time is up, you're going to have to find another future quarterback, franchise quarterback. And now this franchise quarterback, you're going to have to throw into the fire. Once again, quarterbacks that are often thrown into the fire in NFL history don't do well. You know, the only quarterback, or one of the few quarterbacks you could probably say playing in today's NFL that was thrown into the fire was Joe Burrow. But even he's had some rocky moments to his career, in which he's going through a rocky moment within his career now. Barely playing last season, injuries piling up, losing seasons. So I just think either way you look at it, with you starting Shedeur, it's just not going to end well, you know. And I think, like I said, Deshaun Watson gives you more time to give Shedeur to develop, get within the system, understand the system, you know, really gel within the team, given that he's your future. And as more time goes on to where he doesn't have to have as much pressure on him, you know, the odds start getting into his favor. Because if you look at the history of quarterbacks that have often given time to progress, like Tom Brady, like Patrick Mahomes, like Lamar Jackson, these are often players these are quarterbacks that wasn't thrown into the fire, that are now multi-time MVPs, Hall of Famers, you know what I'm saying? Generational talents. Analytically and just common sense wise, Shedeur Sanders needs to go ahead and be the QB2, and you need to start with QB1, Deshaun Watson. You already paid him QB1 money. Go ahead and figure out if you need to stick with him or is it time to move on. You know what I'm saying? At this point, just use this as an opportunity, as a final opportunity to prove what he can do. At the end of the day, everybody will be happy. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless, Deshaun's going to get his money, and Shedeur is going to give more time to really develop. You know what I'm saying? Especially given that his time in Cleveland so far has been rocky. You know what I'm saying? Since he was drafted. Even since the beginning of his career, him dropping all the way to the 6th round, to head coaches making smart remarks in post-game conferences and pre-game conferences, to the GM saying that he didn't even want him, to now he's on his 2nd head coach. So I just think use this as a time to really take a deep breath. But yeah, we'll see. That's all I got for this video. I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Do those 3 things for me. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.